Hello there, gang, and welcome to another episode of Displaying Model Behaviour, the Earth's mightiest action figure video podcast. So take off your pants, crack a beer, and let's talk toys. Let's talk about the nerdy news that you need to know about. It's the only news that matters. It's good news. And on today's show, a Mandalorian walks out of the WWE, the Predator stalks Hulu, and Todd McFarlane fulfills a 25-year promise. But as you know, here at Model Behaviour, action figures always come first.
Or sometimes not at all.
So let's not stand on ceremony. Mr. Wayne, let's talk about him. First up is the biggest story as far as I'm concerned, and that is that Todd McFarlane with McFarlane Toys are doing Doom figures. Oh my goodness, this was kind of a dream line that I was hoping to see. I was kind of losing interest in McFarlane because I'm like, I'm not a big DC guy. The Mortal Kombat line doesn't seem to be going anywhere. The Spawn characters, they're a bit hit and miss. And then you start doing Doom. And you're kicking it off with 3 Doom Slayers, thrice the Doom Slayer for your shelf potential. So first of all, you got basic vanilla Doom guy. And this is the coolest one for me, because this is like the new sort of Doom Eternal version, but the whole point of that design is it completely harkens back to the original 1993 Doom guy with the basic helmet and the green gear and just, it's great. I love it. Absolutely love it. Now, of course, McFarlane is 7-inch, so he's not going to scale with other Hasbro lines and stuff, but I mean, who cares? It's not like you're going to put him with your Marvel Legends, although he would make an amazing G.I. Joe member, but too big. But that's fine. So the generic Doom guy looks awesome, but then you've also got these other two as well. You got the white version, which looks kind of cool. I mean, if you're going to have them together as like a squad, that dude looks really wicked. And then to go one up on that, you also have the Ember Doom Slayer. And I assume that these are different skins, power-ups, costumes from Doom Eternal. I think that's the second new Doom game, which I haven't played. I played the first one, and I really enjoyed it, but it's so hectic. It's so pulse-pounding. I like to sit back and relax when I play video games. You can't do that when you play the new Doom games. You gotta push the advantage, and it's a lot, as they say. But these 3 Doom guys, they look amazing, and guess what isn't a lot? The price. You know what I've seen these guys listed as? $19.99. I mean, that just sounds so sweet to rattle off my tongue. $19.99 for the 3 Doom Slayers each. That looks wonderful. I cannot wait to see more from this line. Todd, bring on the monsters. This could be awesome. Over in Storm Collectibles, but sticking with the video game theme, they've shown images of their Blue Mary figure from King of the Fighters 98. Now look, I'm a Street Fighter guy, alright? You know me. I put my trousers on one leg at a time, I like my toast buttered a certain side, and I like my 2D fighters featuring Ken and Ryu. But King of the Fighters is a popular franchise, popular enough that it spawned quite a few action figures, and this Blue Mary I think is going to make a lot of people happy. I don't really know who she is, but I can even say, without having the source material, she's going to look exactly like she does in the game, because that's what Storm do, it's their bread and butter. And having said that, I did just think about how terrible some of their Mortal Kombat characters look. So, that's maybe not a fair statement, but still, this looks like your typical sort of anime-style Storm collectible, and that's only a good thing, because Storm have proven that human-looking face sculpts can be hit and miss, but when they're going for more of a cartoony sort of look, that is where their strength lies. And this looks great. Looks like great, awesome anime fighting girl. Don't know why I did the sort of Bruce Lee kind of pose there. She's more of a bare-knuckle boxer looking kind of pose, but she looks really fun. So if you're a King of the Fighters kind of person, you don't mind shelling out about $80, give or take, then you can look forward to this figure hitting stores, well, in probably about the 3rd quarter of this year. And still keeping with video game figures, this wasn't planned, it's just, hey, it's a good time for video game figures, and based off of 90s franchises. It's so good being in that 35 to 45 demographic where all the people in charge of making stuff are my age, so we get all the great nostalgia. And in this case, we're getting more premium DNA Earthworm Jim reveals. So first of all, we had Bob the Killer Goldfish with number 4. That looked great. And now we've got not only Professor Monkey for a head, who looks hilariously brilliant, but also Psy-Crow. So let's take a look at these two iconic Earthworm Jim villains. So Professor Monkey for a head is, as they actually list him, almost 2 figures in one. You've got the Professor and you've got the ridiculous monkey sprouting out of his head, which is such a fun, ridiculous, bonkers concept that in the game and the cartoon, you have this maniacal Professor who's constantly arguing with this ridiculous monkey that's grafted onto his head. And the figure's going to be big, because with the monkey on top, it's about 11 inches. That's a big action figure, but still within that sort of 6.5 inch scale. So that's kind of fun. So you've got him, and then you've got Earthworm Jim's classic nemesis, Psy-Crow. And Psy-Crow, I think, is just a hilarious character. If you ever saw him in the Earthworm Jim cartoon, it's like he speaks like this grouchy kind of old man, and he's just kind of adorably evil, but kind of wicked. Speaking of evil, I'm guessing we might get Evil the Cat at some point soon as well, which would be another wonderful addition. Only problem, all right, here the rub has to come at some point. These are like $50 each, so they're expensive. You're looking at that Super 7 Deluxe kind of range, but you get a lot of things. You know, it looks like you get a nice amount of action figure for your money, but yeah, they ain't cheap. So if you're gonna do like an entire Earthworm Jim line with the villains and everything, you're probably looking to spend about like close to $500 on an entire set. I can see this being a big investment for a lot of people. Myself, I'm like, I love you, but I'm out. However, if you've got the funds to spare and the big 90s nostalgia, this one's totally going to be for you. Speaking of having the money to spare, 30 DLX have shown a preview image of their Iron Man Mark III armor. Now, 30, they don't mess around, all right? This isn't your mama's action figure manufacturing company, all right? These are like the high-end bee's knees. It's as if Phil Tippett himself were making stop-motion animation figures to... Oh, could you imagine if Iron Man was made in like the 80s and the fight with Ironmonger was all stop-motion like what RoboCop? Oh man, I would love that. Anyway, I digress. This looks like it's probably going to be beautiful. How do I know that? Because all of 30's other creations are beautiful as well. They've done more modern Iron Man armors. They even did the freaking Hulkbuster. It's pretty badass. But this is the one that so many people really, really wanted, especially my friend Leanne. I remember her seeing a comment going, "This is the one that I wanted the whole time!" She probably didn't say it like that. She has more decorum than I do. But it looks great. It's the original gold and red Iron Man armor from the first movie. I'm sure it's going to make a lot of people very happy and probably drain their wallets as well. For more information, keep it tuned in here to Model Behaviour, which guarantees that you'll find out about a day or two after it's published on other websites.
Oh, pretty lady. Anybody want a peanut?
Yep, that's my Andre the Giant, because Super 7 are teasing their next Andre figure, which is him in his black singlet, his butcher's singlet, as it's known, with the strap that goes down the side like that. That's what they call a butcher's singlet. Don't know why, I never saw a butcher wearing one. But I digress. We haven't seen anything else from this figure, just a little preview, but this is the most iconic image of Andre that I always imagine. It's Andre at WrestleMania 3, where Hulk Hogan slammed him and became the first man to ever slam the 2,000-pound Andre the Giant. Yeah, that's true. Just ask Hogan. But yeah, if you like Super 7 wrestlers, this one's going to be for you. A lot of people I saw in some of the comments underneath said, "Oh good, another overpriced figure with a terrible facial likeness." So I don't know. I thought the original Super 7 Andre was okay. So your mileage may vary depending on how much of a stickler you are for that photoreal kind of look. But for me, it's going to be a relatively big price tag. I'm guessing about $50. I don't need Andre in my collection. I'm just going to stick with the memories. Princess Bride, WrestleMania 3, that'll do it. Always happy to build up the hype train, Hasbro have shown a countdown clock on their social media, Instagram and whatnot. And it's counting down to tomorrow, about this time tomorrow, the 18th in the afternoon, UK time. They're going to be revealing something. Now, hopefully, it's going to be Marvel Legends related, which is cool, but also can be a bit of a double-edged kind of sword. Why? Because Marvel Legends does also encompass the 3.75-inch line. And again, I don't know who you weirdos are, but there's a market for them. People seem to keep buying them. They're not making them out of spite. So they might be revealing something in the 3.75-inch line. Obviously, I'm hoping it's going to be some badass 6-inch scale Marvel Legends. You know, real action figures. I'm just playing with you. Anyway, this time tomorrow, we're going to find out what it is. Hopefully it'll be something cool to get excited about, and I can report about it on the next good news. Over in movie news, we finally have a teaser trailer for Predator Prey. I think it's just called Prey. It's not called Predator Prey. It's like, come on. You know what this movie is about. Lady has 3 red dots on her head. It couldn't be anyone else. It ain't Freddy Krueger. It's the Yautja, who is going to be hunting a Native American or Indigenous American. I want to get the right term, but you know what I'm saying. All right. So the trailer is set in that kind of, I don't know, Dances with Wolves type era, where we see these 2 people who are running from something. No prizes for guessing what. And they duck down, pull the bow and arrow back, and all of a sudden, pew, you see the red dots of the Predator. That's all you need for a Predator teaser trailer. It sells itself. And there's so much sense memory that goes into these nostalgic things, because it is kind of nostalgia bait, but as soon as you hear those same iconic noises, sound effects, the click, the click of the Predator's mandibles, and the sound of the laser powering up, it's funny that obviously this is set about 200 years or before the Predator films with Schwarzenegger, yet the Predators are still using clearly the exact same technology, which is my headcanon for Predators is that they didn't design that technology. They get it given to them by some other alien race. Because you can't imagine like teams of Predator scientists, with test tubes and beakers and glasses, like formulating laser sightings and building starships. Like that doesn't compute, doesn't work out for me. No, they have to be given that by someone else. It's like, I use a MacBook and an iPhone. Don't know how they work though. So I imagine there's some other alien species that's actually like, hey Predators, here, have fun with this. And they're like, thank you. I'm riffing far too much. Yeah, it's going to be on Hulu in August, which is really soon actually. And so I'm guessing it's not going to have a cinema release, which is this like the day-to-day equivalent of going direct to DVD? Because if it is, that's a little bit worrying. But the thing is, Predators don't have to be like super high budget. It just has to be a good story. And if this is like a wilderness survival type story, like the whole movie is sort of the final act of the first Predator, yeah, I'm actually going to be really down for that. So sign me up. 4 Horsemen Studios, the makers of Mythic Legions figures and soon Cosmic Legions, have shown their con exclusive, their Legions Con exclusive 2-pack, which will equate to 4 figures eventually. Because you've got 2 bodies, 4 heads, and a whole bunch of different hands and accessories. So people are going to want to buy 2 of the 2 to make the 4. That's math for you right there. You learn stuff on this channel. So they are repaints of existing characters, but done in this demonic red kind of style. I feel this is very much for the Mythic Legions person who kind of has everything, and they want like the con exclusive. And it's cool. I mean, look, Mythic Legions figures are badass. I only have a couple because I live in England and I'm late to the party. That's like super expensive combination of factors to get into collecting these. So I will admire them from afar, but from afar, they look pretty awesome. So if you're going to Legion Con, you can pick them up in person. If not, then probably on the secondhand aftermarket, you're going to be able to nab them. But yeah, they look kind of fun. Over in pro wrestling news, a couple of big stories. First of all, Ric Flair is going to have another final match. I'm pretty sure it's being billed as Ric Flair's absolute final match, definitely this time. I mean it, the other ones don't count. Super promise, pinky swear, my last match by Ric Flair. And I mean, I hope so, because he's an old dude. But this is going to be a 6-man tag, which actually sounds really kind of fun. It's going to be at Court Bauer's WrestleCon, so it's not on a big show. You would have thought this is something that AEW might have wanted to have, but Flair's been a little bit like persona non grata after Dark Side of the Ring came out and some allegations were made against him, and it's like, no, maybe we don't want to do business with you because you might have done some questionable things, blah, blah, blah. Let's not dwell on that. Let's dwell on Ric Flair's last match, which is kind of cool. So he is going to be teaming up with FTR, who are great. They are the most old school modern tag team, and they're going to be taking on Ric Flair's classic opponents, which is amazing. It's going to be the Rock and Roll Express, who are only like a couple of years younger than Flair, and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat. And Ricky Steamboat just seems to be a timeless gentleman who just took care of his body, and I think is one of the most wholesome people in the world, and that is exemplified through nature just going, yeah, we're going to let you age as gracefully as you like. So I'm sure it's going to be a fun spectacle just to see Ric Flair, woo, walk that aisle one last time. That sounded nothing like Ric Flair, but you know what I mean. Fill in the blanks. So that's one to look forward to. And you know what? Just a little editorializing here. A lot of people are saying, like, you know, oh, this shouldn't be allowed. He's too old. What if something happens to him? Well, you know, what if there's some tragedy? Look, the dude is in his mid-70s. And honestly, it kind of baffles me sometimes when people are like, no one is allowed to die ever. You must live to be 1,000,000, and then just we have to keep you alive. No, like if it actually came out, I'm in trouble for this. If it actually came out that Ric Flair passed away in a wrestling ring while wrestling a match, wouldn't that actually be like the happiest ending to his? Like what better way would you want to go out? And it's not like he's like in his 30s. He's in his mid-70s. Like, give the guy a break. I'm sure he's like, hey, look, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to wrestle this match, and whatever happens, it's just going to happen, you know? If I die in that ring, woo, then I'm going to be a happy man. I can tell you what, I think that's a slightly better Ric Flair impression. All I'm saying is, the man makes his own decisions, he does what he wants, and I respect that. So I, for one, I think this is going to be a cool spectacle. Okay, funny story. It wasn't until I was editing this video that I realized I never mentioned the whole Sasha Banks walking out of WWE thing. So I'll say it quickly here. Sasha Banks walked out of WWE along with her tag team partner Naomi. They were the women's tag team champions. And the women's tag team titles and $3 will get you a cup of coffee at Starbucks. They're pretty worthless. And what happened was they were told before Raw that they were going to be in a 6-person match to decide the number 1 contender for the women's championship. And they were like, I think that you're disrespecting us. You're disrespecting us and our title reigns. We're not going to do this match. In fact, we don't feel safe working with 2 of the people in that match, so we're going to leave. And they did. And WWE put out a really surprising statement saying, this is a scripted television show and 2 of our performers did not wish to do what they were told to do, and they really kind of buried them. And it was really quite low of them to specifically say that they said that they felt unsafe working with 2 of the other people, because that makes it pretty freaking obvious who they were talking about. And it's like, oh gosh, it's such a scummy company. Should they have walked out? Not necessarily. No, I'm not saying that. But the way that you handle things is just kind of gross. So it's very much, I wouldn't say it's unheard of, but the last person to do this was CM Punk. And the person before him was Stone Cold Steve Austin. And Sasha Banks and Naomi, they ain't a CM Punk or a Stone Cold Steve Austin, but I respect them for standing up for whatever they thought was right. So there'll be more on this story as it happens. Over to TV, and some character images have been shown for HBO's Gremlins show, and this looks kind of fun. So this is Gremlins Secrets of the Mogwai, and it looks like a CGI Pixar looking kind of CG animated show. Did I say CG twice? I'll say it once more. CG. And it's set way back in the long ago with Mr. What's his name? Mr. I forget, but the old Chinese guy who sells, well, he doesn't sell Gizmo to the guy, but he has the store where Gizmo lives. It's him as a young boy. So we're going to get to see how he gets given Gizmo, and it seems like it's kind of a road trip type story. And apparently, like there's all this different Chinese mythology that gets woven into it. So I kind of love that. The idea that Mogwais and Gremlins are just 2 small aspects of crazy Chinese creature mythology. I think that's going to be really cool, and I think there is like a big bad in the story who is pursuing the young lad with Gizmo, and he's got his gremlin henchman with him, which is also going to be fun because gremlins have only ever been shown to be like creatures of just chaos. So it'll be interesting to see if there's a character who can like direct them, like you point them in a direction. It's like, no, go cause chaos over there. I imagine it's like herding cats, but still, this is coming to HBO at the end of the year, and I'm really looking forward to this. On the last show, I think it was the last show, I mentioned a countdown, a Batman countdown that was ticking down, about a week left on it. And I did a little bit of searching, which really didn't take much, just some common sense actually. And it links to an immersive experience company. And now this aligns with an immersive experience that has been stated to be happening in London at the end of the year. It's an immersive Arkham Asylum experience. So yeah, that may very well be what this is for, and I for one am so pumped at the prospect of going to an actual interactive Arkham Asylum. Now the thing is, I don't know if the countdown is for America or the UK, because the UK one is kind of like, it's known. I think it's been officially announced, you know, so I don't think that would be like a big surprise. Maybe this is an American one, there's going to be an immersive Arkham experience in America. Either way, I'm really hyped for this, so watch this space, and as more details come out, I'll let you know. The Mezco Batman Two-Face classic retro style 2-pack is starting to hit store shelves or people's mailboxes. Is it even, do Mezco sell in stores, or is it all the direct market? Regardless, I've seen folks posting images of their sets and they look really fun. This isn't one that I wanted. I'm, as you know, not DC, that's not really my kind of wheelhouse, but it's just nice to see Mezco. They've still got their production facilities running, things are happening, figures are being made, stuff's coming out. They're so delayed on the whole with most stuff. They are sitting on a lot of my money for pre-orders, I'm telling you that much. But it's nice to see the wheels are in motion, and this 2-pack does look gorgeous. So hopefully, maybe that means my Wolverine, Bishop, Ghost Rider, Fantastic Four, they might be just around the corner. Who knows, but it looks encouraging. Vanity Fair, or Variety or Vanity Fair, delete where appropriate, have done a big glossy spread on the new Disney Plus Star Wars shows and given an idea of like the creative direction moving forward and shown some pretty images of the actors all in their gear. It looks kind of cool, and it's been such a mixed bag for Star Wars so far, with a fine Mandalorian, a terrible Boba Fett, and now hopefully Obi-Wan is going to pull the nose up and give us some real good Star Wars action. I'm still on board, and now they're showing some pictures of the actor who plays, is it Cassian Andor? Is that it, from the Rebels show that's going to be coming out? It's a prequel to Rogue One, so that could be interesting to see a sort of a Star Wars spy insurrection type caper. That could be a good show. And then one that's just really starting to slowly come together is this show that's going to be set in the Old Republic. And that sounds like it could be a real kind of intrigue, sort of political kind of Star Wars tale, which would be so different from anything else that they've done before. So with those, with Ahsoka, not Ashoka, thank you for the corrections on the last time, Ahsoka show coming out, and then with Mandalorian Season 3, there's a whole bunch of Star Wars content that's going to be hitting our screen over the next couple of years. And honestly, if Obi-Wan can bring me back in, then I'm going to be there all in, fully excited. So fingers crossed, the joy is going to come back for me. And when it does, I'm going to be all in on Star Wars. And finally, Todd McFarlane returns stolen property after 25 years. That's a lot juicier than it really sounds. A talented artist by the name of Joyce Chin once did a cover of Angela for McFarlane way back in the mid-90s. And that cover was utilized for a couple of different projects, and basically, she never got it back. She was supposed to. That's supposed to be the case when an artist does a cover, or any kind of artwork, I suppose. From what I gathered, they send it in and it gets processed and done what's done, and then they receive it back and they can do whatever they want with it. And somehow 25 years elapsed between Todd McFarlane getting this artwork and using it for a variety of different things, and now finally at a convention he was able to return this original 25-year-old Angela cover to this artist. And it was just kind of a sweet story that she said, you know what? Yep, it would have been nice to have had it back in the day, but also if I did, I probably would have sold it for a couple of $100. Now, 25 years later, it's worth a whole heck of a lot more. So Todd, thank you very much for finally giving my artwork back to me. And folks, that does it for Good News for today. What did you think of the stories covered? Comment below. Let me know. And if you like what you see here and you want to see more, then you know what to do. Join the 6-1 Clicks by clicking the like, share, and subscribe buttons. And if you want to go one step beyond in supporting the channel, you can do by going over to patreon.com/displaying model behavior. Throw a couple of bucks my way and you can watch all the latest exclusive videos on there, or you can get yourself a channel membership so that you can watch those same videos, but also get some nice icons next to your name when we do the live chats. So it's always a good time, whichever brand you want to go for. Helping out the channel really is massively helpful, I guess. Maybe I can buy a new vocabulary. So guys, thanks very much for watching, and until next time, keep displaying model behavior.
For coffee. For coffee. For coffee. Big time